Hey, welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays. We're a weekly series where we're talking about comic books. We're your hosts, I'm Ian,
I'm Al.
And I'm Shane.
and if you're enjoying our content, please remember to interact with us, comment, subscribe, ring the stupid bell. Who gives a shit? Um, so this week we read issues by Jonathan Hickman, New Avengers 30, Avengers 42, and New Avengers 31. And we are now officially 1 week away from starting Secret Wars.
Woo woo!
So things are really coming together here. Now, last week, Shane, we talked about the Beyonders, and I talked about the Beyonder. Now, we don't get a lot of information on the Beyonder in this set of books, but we do get information on who the Beyonders are and what their agenda is. How do you feel about it? I mean, you got some information that you were looking for.
I don't think I wanted to know that information now. I mean, giant evil dickheads.
Yeah, the celestial killing kind, which is kind of fucking crazy. And not just the CS.
Exactly what we want in the neighborhood.
Right? But they don't only just kill celestials, they kill, like, eternity himself, the essence of the universe, and then the essence of the multiverse formed into the living tribunal, which is kind of fucking crazy. That these things have this type of power. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, that was wild. I was kind of shocked at that moment. I understand why Hank Pym had such a hard time with that.
Yeah, like why Hank was a little like insane.
That was cool seeing him go through the multiverse and watching all that shit, though.
No, it totally was. And you know what I really liked about it? It felt like it really like brought in like these builder characters that Hickman had in the early story. You know?
So did I get that right? Where they referenced the older Secret Wars? Was I reading that correctly, or because
They
it kind of
did.
seemed like Hank Pym was talking about the last Secret War?
They did, because he was like, we ran into the Beyonder before with the last Secret War. Like he did, like mention it, and he goes, but these guys are different. We didn't realize there was more than just one.
Right.
Which is kind of, and at the time, this was all new stuff for Marvel comic readers, so it was kind of like mind blowing. But I'm really curious to see if how much they take from Hickman's Hickman's line on Avengers and with Secret Wars when they adapted it in the MCU. There's a lot they can use, but there's also a lot that I don't think they're going to want to use, just because of how crazy it all is.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot to pull from, and as of right now, kind of where it stands, they've once again reached a point where it's like, okay, you've written yourselves into a hole. I want to see how you're going to write yourselves out of that hole, and now you've just made the stakes even bigger. Which, I mean, as comics go, it's always who is the next big bad. Before it was the incursions, as like how are we going to solve this? And now it's god killers, and so I kind of feel like they're following that trend, but also doing it in a really interesting way.
Yeah, totally. Like constantly one-upping themselves type thing. Yeah. Most of this issue is just kind of like racking my brain real quick.
No worries.
I don't know. We go. The new Avengers issue was really a callback to a lot of what Hickman was writing. I mean, like we learned a little. I think I have a better understanding of what like the structure is and the like that hyper space, almost like a bleed. I'm trying not to use the DC words for it because bleed space. I don't remember exactly what they call it because there's like the area in between the universes is where like the builders are kind of like at, and it's kind of like And I feel like the Beyonders are from beyond even that. Like they're outside the multiverse as a whole, where like the Builders kind of live in between universes. And like, does that even make sense? I don't know. None of it makes sense, but you know.
No, it's Marvel. They do what they want.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I kind of want to hear what Alex has to say. You're quiet, my friend. You're not saying much.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that they've wrote themselves into a corner and that whole, but they I don't see them doing much of this story in a live action setting. It doesn't seem like it would flow very well to me.
No. What they'll probably adapt is the incursion stuff, and how are they gonna stop the incursions type thing. And they'll
I kind of feel like I would have a hard time seeing them even doing the incursions. Like I feel like that would be a tough story for them to write.
they already are doing it though. They mentioned the incursions already.
Yeah, I guess. It just I don't know.
It's
A
not going to
slight
be the
mention.
same scale.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have Reed Richards himself talking to Doctor Strange while in the body of the Illuminati. They have the Illuminati sitting there.
Yeah, that's true.
Talking about the incursions, and they talked about how they had to destroy a universe with the Darkhold. Um, it's all there. It's all in Doctor Strange. The only thing that we have to find is it going to be this continuous like snowball effect type thing, like it is in the comics. I don't think it will be. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be to the scale that it is in the books. It never is.
No.
But yeah, that's. What are you going to say, Shane? I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. I was going to say, I guess the question then becomes, what is the option to then go from here? Because you're correct. They're already doing incursions. They're already doing, stuff like that. So then it makes me wonder, if they're already doing these things, and these questions, of course, will get answered at some point. It's Marvel. And I'm sure every comic fan goes through this. What are they going to cut out? What are they going to change in order to fit this new design?
Right.
And that's kind of really what it boils down to: is what's the fix?
Very good question, and I don't necessarily know. We're so early on in the stage now. It seems like Kang is going to play more of a role in their Secret Wars story. Um, to what point, I'm not going to say, or not going to even make an educated guess at this point, just because like the two of you haven't seen Ant-Man as of yet, and like I feel like that's setting up a lot that's going to happen going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Well, if they release it on time, I'm happy to watch it and talk about it when they do it next, or when we have the
yeah,
next episode.
hopefully, well, we'll see. I think maybe next week or the week after is what they're saying. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but let's move on to the next issue, because the next issue brings us back to it takes us out of the multiverse and brings us back to Earth, and the Avengers or the Illuminati or whoever you want to say, the collective heroes at this point, are learning how to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what did you pick up on that? I mean, did you pick up on their plan from the panels and stuff? Because I know what it is because I've read Secret Wars, but I want to see what you're going to say.
To which one of us?
Either of you, both of you.
Either. Al, if you don't mind, I can go first.
Go ahead.
So in reading the panels, I did one of the things that I did say that I thought was kind of interesting was the line that one of the heroes uses, and he says, "You use what nature provides, even if it's the skin of the carcass of a dead god." So it kind of makes me think first that they're looking for an answer in this thing to try and fight back, and like I don't know if they're gonna come out with some like weird material or some sort of crazy idea from that, but
Mhm.
it seems like that's going to lead to something interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and
I,
then
sorry, go ahead.
that next panel, no, it's all good. The next panel with I'm trying to remember their name, the Super Guardian.
Super Guardian being, um, yeah, that's his name actually. I think that's his at least his hero name. He's from the Shire Empire. He's
Yeah, that was kind of interesting of like recalling them all to active service because like it made me think like okay, well everybody's kind of becoming aware of this thing. So I'm curious to start to see where these like weird alliances are going to start taking place.
I like that you brought up the whole like alliance forming, and they're the basically the alien like fleet that's going to be storming or attacking Earth. Essentially, is what we're seeing there, and it's these comics came out in 2015, about I wouldn't even say a full year after Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Um, so we're seeing like the Guardians in their like new form here because they're not
Oh
like that in
wow.
the comics for the most part. So you're seeing the direct influence of the movies changing their persona, um, for the comics. So that's like
Oh
probably
shit.
one of the first times, at least in the Avengers books, the Guardians are like their movie persona.
That's kind of cool.
Damn, I
I
didn't
like
Yeah,
know
the
that. That's
fact that we
awesome.
were getting a little bit more in depth in Manifold and seeing the multiple different ones across the multiverse and how powerful they become.
yeah,
Whereas
and
like the Manifold in our main universe is just kind of like, oh, I had no idea.
I can't traverse the multiverse type thing. And he's like, yeah, he's like, but this one can. Oh, and he was like all disappointed. It was
Do you think he's gonna be more uh, part of the solution, seeing that the other manifolds have such a big play in it?
maybe. I think it's interesting that they're using Manifold. I mean, like, yeah, we've had Manifold for the whole comic line, but I was kind of thinking about this the other day. Where's Cloak? Doesn't Cloak essentially do the same thing Manifold does?
Yeah, I would think so.
And Cloak is a bigger name, so I don't know.
That's
But hey,
interesting.
we got a new character that we're dealing with. So, but yeah, I don't know how much Manifold's going to be important going forward. It's fascinating. Um, Also, Shane, I mean, I'm curious to see how much your idea plays out as far as like their survival plan goes. I think it's cool
Mhm.
that they're trying to use the corpse of the living tribunal. Um, it's kind of gnarly to use the corpse of a dead god as your survival plan.
Yeah, like it really kind of like brings into the whole. Oh, we're kind of fucked. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I don't know if I ever got your response. What do you think their survival plan is at this point?
I don't know, man. I mean, all things kind of point towards the corpse of that. I forget what you were calling it.
The living tribunal.
The living tribunal. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely going to be something with that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know how much any one specific character is going to play into it, but there's definitely going to be some use of that, and I'm kind of interested to see what Doctor Strange is going to do because he's kind of been playing a little hide away, with the dark priests and you know, and the big thing with Doom at the end of that one issue.
Yeah, great,
Ooh, that, yeah.
great segue. So, Doctor Doom storms the library of the Black Swans. So we finally get to see this a la album character, the leader of the Black Swans, whose basically sole mission is to fight against the Beyonders, who we find out are the Ivory Kings. Um, so it's all real fascinating. And Doctor Strange, pushes his way through, and like he's like, not only am I like the leader of the dark uh, wizards or whatever they're called, I forget. But I'm the sorcerer supreme, so he like plows through the um, the Black Swans. I forget exactly. He does get beat and like captured, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they like drag him in, and that's when he sees Doom at the end there.
Right. So whatever Molecule Man did with Doom, they like transcended both space and time, which for Molecule Man I don't think is like a big thing to do. Like that guy is like one of the most OP characters ever. Like he can pretty much do anything. But yeah, so he sets up the Black Swans. So this like otherworldly being this whole time was Doctor Doom, which I don't think Doom needs any more of an ego boost. Yeah,
No, but he for sure
Just
got
a
it.
little bit.
yeah. I didn't see that coming at all. Like I know Doom has a huge part in the story going forward, but like I didn't see that. Like that threw me off, and I was like, holy shit. I wanted to text the two of you like as soon as I read it. Um, but I knew you guys haven't read it yet. I was a little ahead, as I tend to read them before you guys. Like,
Yeah.
I read that one today, and so I had the same urge where I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta talk to the guys." And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, "Nope, I will in a few hours, but holy shit!"
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So,
and then
like I said, I'm excited to see what Strange is gonna do because he's entailing a whole huge portion of this storyline that has just not come to head yet.
no, and like I thought it was gonna be a throwaway story, to be honest, because they like showed Strange in this weird one-off comic, and then they like dipped. And we haven't even seen the Avengers multiverse team until like I think the end of the last issue we read.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like worried where they were at, but it looks like they're about to get curb stomped by the Beyonders. So good luck.
Yeah.
They are gonna need it.
They definitely are. Like even with Hyperion and Thor on that team, like they're gonna get trashed, like hardcore trashed.
Oh, it's like that joke I made last week. You don't mess with the Greys. It's just not something you should be doing.
No, you don't mess with the Greys. That's for sure. Oh my god. So yeah, we have 1 week left, and then Secret Wars. So everything, all our questions are gonna really be answered in the next week.
Bum.
Only for us to then have to read probably one of my favorite books of all time. So I I'm glad you guys like were taking this journey with me, and I can't wait for you guys to read it. So we're getting close
Yeah, it's
now.
gonna be fun.
I'm glad. The last week we do have 4 issues. Otherwise,
Okay,
we'd just be doing one off on its own.
that's fair.
So we're gonna do New Avengers 32, Avengers 43, New Avengers 33, and then Avengers 44, and that should be it.
Okay,
So I'll put those all down for you guys, of course, so you'll have
sweet. Thank you.
them. And then we'll be on to Secret Wars. All right, let's see here. All right, I think that's really it for me. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about real quick?
No, that covered it
Yeah, I
pretty
think
well.
so too.
Um, Can I just say I really enjoyed the panel switch in the second issue with Rocket. It's one of my favorite moments in this.
That was a fun little panel there.
Yeah.
Idiots.
You're all idiots.
And like I read it in Bradley Cooper's voice.
So did I.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so good. That's why I was like, it captured who the Guardians are perfectly because they just had the right lines for Rocket. You know.
It really was a fantastic moment.
Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to add that because that was one of my favorite bits from this issue.
I agree. It's fantastic. Thank you for mentioning it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you're enjoying our content, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Give us ideas for comic books that you like us to read, Marvel books preferred, just because we have access to those. If you don't, we can always just see what we can do. But again, I'm Ian.
I'm Al.
And I'm Shane.
This was Comic Book Wednesdays. Good night, everybody.